So one of the great things to forage in the winter, in fact a fruit, there's not a huge amount of fruit in the winter. You've got rose hips predominantly being the kind of hedgerow fruit. But if you look around in the woodlands, and the glorious thing is they're so easy to spot on the leaf litter, is lovely crab apples. So someone was asking me about crab apples the other day when we were out for a cycle. My friend, he says, do you use crab apples? And I said, well, no, not really. Like 15 years ago, I used to use a lot of them, I said, which was basically to make crabapple and rosehip, or crabapple and rosehip and rowan jelly, which is really nice. But then I've kind of ignored them since then. So when I was out walking the other day, I thought, oh, I saw someone, I thought, you know, I'm not going to ignore them anymore. So I gathered lots and I made a lovely tart, really bursting with flavour. So I'm going to show you how to do that with these. I'll just gather a few more and put them in the bag. They look a little bit dirty, but we'll soon wash them off and they'll be fine. Get some more. So we're back in the kitchen. I've washed all the apples and I've taken all the stalks off. And I've made the pastry. Now, this is a bit like a tarte tatin, but a tarte tatin, you would put the pastry on the cooked apples at the end, and that's very nice. But I've done a short crust pastry, slightly sweetened, and the reason I've done that is because it was to find a reason to use this ingredient, which is quite unusual, which is birch bark powder, like the inner bark of the birch tree. It's a powder, it's a kind of flour really, but more it's a flavouring because it's a very bitter ingredient, but it was just a fun thing. So now I put some butter in the pan and going to offset that amazing robust tartness of the apples with fat and sugar. Now, no one said this was a healthy recipe. It's just about being a little bit indulgent and fatten up for the winter. So, but this is kind of pretty much how you would start a tarte tatin. By, you know, getting so excited that you ejaculate the whole contents of the pan onto your leg at the prospect of eating such a delicious dessert. Fortunately, I've got long johns on under there, so I didn't burn myself. Anyway, there we are. Stir that sugar in. And then it's just a case of in they go. Don't want to completely fill the pan. It needs a little bit of space just so you can move them around a little bit without breaking them. So I'm going to cook them like this for, I don't know, well, until they're done. I reckon that's going to be about 20 minutes. And over that time, just possible, I might put a lid on, I might add a little bit of water, I might not. We'll see. I'll let you know once I've finished and we come back and look at it to tell you what I actually did. For now, let them cook. So there they are. Took about half an hour actually. So put those carefully in there. I hope I've got enough to fill. That's the idea. Let's see. Wow, hot. Whoa. I was going to do it with my fingers, but you know, I've changed my mind because and I've got one final secret wild ingredient. Well, it won't be secret for long, but something I made a couple of years ago. It's in a bottle, and it was so thick that I've just spent about 15 minutes heating it up in a pan of hot water to make it easier to get out. And that is some rosehip syrup. Just before that, I'm just gonna give this a little bit of squeeze. Just to make sure I fill it up. Ow, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, 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 ooh, 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 ah. Ah! I don't know why I've resorted to this, but it just feels like it needs it. It's like a musical instrument. Ah, ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah. Right, there we go. So just a little bit of rosehip syrup. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? And then back in the oven. Woo! For about 10 minutes at 180, just to kind of meld everything together, and then we're done. I'll show you when it comes out. Finished. But actually, that's not really the end, because I decided, although that was good enough, it just was a little dry. So I took all the apples off, and underneath I put a lovely moist sauce, which was basically about another 20 crab apples, a knob of butter, a little bit of sugar, and about 4 tablespoons of rosehip syrup. Cooked it, blitzed it all up, and pasted it on the bottom. So much better.